Okay, hopefully stream should be starting. Okay. Excellent connection, all boats. Okay, there we go, good. I will... It's already public. Okay. I'm gonna tell them to go. So... Anyone late can join with quali or get an unexplained absence. I guess we're doing... not sure if we're going or not. Maybe we are, maybe we aren't. Okay. Oh, there's some confusion. Now we're down. How are we down to 11? I do not get it. Why can't people show up on time? This is just irritating. At this point, why can't we just go? Sorry to the one viewer. Or 0 now. I understand why you've left. Why can't we just start a thing on time? Okay, we're up to 13 now. I just feel like giving UAs out, or is it, can I just give straight penalty points or time penalties? I'll go check the rules now about what penalty I can give people for being late. Drive has to join session at least 5 minutes before things starts. What is this? S7M. It's not a fixed... Oh wait, it's 5 seconds and 1 penalty point. A bit mean to give penalties before the race even starts, but if that might be what I have to do. Can I make this even smaller? Yes, I can. Well, there's 35 people on the standings for this tier. I think I am going to do the 5 seconds and a penalty point. What is it? Should I do 5 seconds and a UA to anyone late? But this is actually ridiculous that people can't join on time. I've only had 1 additional person compared to when I told them to ready up. I know, David in chat. Hopefully we'll get going soon. Watch, you delayed the race by 5 minutes so one person could join. Thumbs up. This is so annoying. This is so annoying. Why can't people get in the lobby before like 5 past? You're supposed to be in 5 minutes before the race. Although, personally, my opinion is that it's not worth giving a penalty unless they are actually late. Okay, apparently we're all in now. Why is this guy asking for an invite at 7 past? Okay. Who am I giving 5 seconds plus 1 penalty point before the race even starts? So either of you are watching right now, that's great. We've been live for 7 minutes. Why are you pinging me? I think we're going to start now. Oh, the timer started. Oh, someone's DC'd. I don't care. We are loading in. Finally. Why is it taking everyone so long? Just select the friggin' tires, please! Okay, good. We're loading in now. Someone's disconnected. Oh, it's doing the... Has the session... I think the session has actually started. Let's just get all of that stuff up. Qualifying looks like it's going to be dry. I hear a car firing up. I see stuff in the McLaren garage. I don't think I have added. That's disconnected. We're riding board with Mate Schlevistan. That was an interesting pit exit. Being honest. That's a lot of tyre warming. Especially given that Canada has the softest compound on the game. The C5s don't actually lose that much grip by being cold. I need to turn the volume down. That is a oopsie daisy on my end. But no one's commented about it on the stream, so I guess everything's fine. And there's 3 of you watching. You can say hi in the chat if you want. And also being the softest compounds, the tyre, even though the tyres don't, numerically the tyre wear is quite low at Canada, possibly even the lowest. However, the tyres feel kinda crap after a bunch of laps. Well, we'll ride on board with the Haas, the podium sitter from last race. Now coming down into turn 1, cuffing the apex nicely. You know that's turn 2. But out of turn 3, it's decent traction, no wheel spin. Into the blind right-hander, beautiful precision. The track limits now coming into whatever turn this is. Short shifting to 5th, opening DRS, and it's a pretty decent exit for the Haas. Now just coming into the 4th chicane that this track has, the 4th out of 5. Now into the hairpin, the only not a chicane. Down to 2nd gear, short shifting to 3rd, getting on the throttle, and now up through the gears, opening DRS, and coming down the longest straight on the track, which I'm actually not sure how long it is. But now into the final chicane, again pretty accurate with the track limits, I think. And now crossing the line, it is a 10.9, so an okay lap. And then I need to check my thing to see who this McLaren driver is. A new driver. Absences, McLaren. See the David Garcia or Maximilian Kikon, but I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So not ideal, but I think it's Vardo. Why am I struggling so hard? I should probably be commentating stuff like McGinty doing an 11.0, which is not a particularly quick lap for McGinty's standards, and I'm disappointed in you. I can do a low 10 around this track, and I expect you to be able to be similar pace to me unless I'm really good at Canada. I don't know what's going on, but McGinty's pretty quick in general. Is anyone else on a lap? Should we go on board with Marco? Yeah, why not? Coming into this chicane. Doing it quite nicely. I think that's nicely at least. Hello, Ethan. I see you in chat. We're still in the pits, so you need to get that lap in. However, Marco, now coming into the final chicane, again using most of the track limit, which is optimal, as some people would say, and it is an 11.0, so faster than McGinty, which is a pretty decent lap. Dino seems to have invalidated and is just switching the battery on again, go for a second run. So the battery and fuel might be a bit sketchy for this lap. Looks good to get a lap out of the tyres, so Maximilian Keegan and I'm really confusing myself. Who is it in the McLaren? But do you know last year's champion is on the lap? I think the McLaren is David Garcia. Is it Garcia? It's been a long time since I've done Spanish. Well, I'd stop spamming people, but Dino spins. However, Ethan Sargent starting a lap. Slightly iffy internet, if I'm being honest. Hopefully it doesn't cause other drivers any problems during the race, but generally teleportation is not ideal. Now coming out of whatever corner that is. Now into El Chicane, numero 4. Yes, that is the 4th chicane. Doing a bit of grass riding, although that might be only on my screen and not the Red Bull screen. Now coming out of the hairpin and opening up the DRS, or DRS. And now we're just unspamming people, so they would have gotten ghost pings, which is very mystical. And now coming out of the final corner, and Ethan does P4, which is not a bad lap, not amazing, but not bad. At least it's better than the reigning champion. However, Mate is starting second run right now in the Haas. Seems to get some pretty nice traction off turn 1. And coming into this chicane with blind track limits, as I like to say. Now through the fast turns and into this corner, which is what I like to think of as being a pain chicane. Now coming into here, where on the under braking the wall sticks out a little bit, so I don't think there's anyone who hasn't lost a front wing at that corner with the wall and whatever, as it's a purple middle sector for the half, so not looking like a bad lap. And now backing out of the lap, maybe the first sector wasn't so great. Is the Haas trying to recharge the battery, because you need to flick it between neutral and first to do that. Is any neutral? No, this guy is not skilled enough to know that. How about McGinty? Is McGinty on a good lap? Apparently 15 seconds down, but I don't believe that, as Robbie unfortunately has binned it. However, McGinty sets a purple first sector, and I shouldn't be this excited for someone being purple. I think the Fardul guy Bindeisen sets a pretty quick lap. Why am I surprised? The 10.8 isn't that quick, but relatively quick compared to everyone else. And right now I'm bored with McGinty, who is one of the quicker drivers on paper at least. Now flying into the final chicane, just within track limits. And now coming across the line, and it is a 1:10.4, so that is more what I was expecting from McGinty, and that will strike fear into the other drivers, such as Marco, who is 2 tenths up, but 2 tenths will not be enough to beat McGinty. That hairpin feels so slow. But the Aston Martin is now getting onto the power, and will be arriving at the final chicane about now, and actually takes it quite nicely. And running to the line, and it is a 10.6, so not too bad, as Simon Aberg also set a 10.7, and also Dino set a 10.7, so a much better lap from the reigning champion, who right now is P7 in the championship after coming P7 last time out in Austria. Is there anyone else on the lap? Should we go on board with Ethan Sargent, who is the only person who commented in chat, so I guess you get a lap commentated. Now coming through whatever corner this is, the internet does seem a little bit better this lap, although still not the best. Now, coming out of the corner, seems pretty decent, no wheel spin. Opening DRS down the relatively short straight and into this chicane, which is a bit awkward as Eric has retired from the session, binning it on exit of turn 1, I believe, because I see the dot of the Alfa Romeo on the track. That is some weird internet. Did he invalidate there? I'm not sure what's going on, but this guy knows the battery trick. You can just see the battery recharge. That is what I call big brain. And it's already at 100. Although you probably want a bit more speed to start your... and you head straight into the pits. I'm not sure why you'd recharge back, just to go straight back into the pits. And Matusiak in low... I think Matusiak's in low fuel mode, if I'm being honest. That car looks slow. What about... this is... I think this is Mate Schlebestan. But the house is invalidated. I should really get better with names and stuff. Stordovich on a lap. Looks like an in lap. It's about Quattro Pellecci. Starting a lap now, but with only 50% battery, because I saw some weaving, which you don't tend to do in a lap. Although I think the Williams might be going for a lap now despite not having that much battery. But there is a bunch of the fuel in the car, and that is the corner cut, so no improvement. Should we see what Finn Dyson can do? The AlphaTauri is just starting a lap now. Coming out of the final corner. Across the line. Doing turn 1 pretty nicely. And now coming out of turn 3. Why is qualifying so boring? I need a championship fight so I can get excited about something, or fighting or whatever. It's been a pretty average lap. I should probably ride on board and then say something. It's an okay chicane, getting on the throttle nice and early. Popping open the DRS like everyone does. And now coming through the final chicane. And opening the DRS again. It's a 10.5, so the German seems to be quite quick at this track. There's a bit of chaos on the pit exit. What is this? Why? Why? Marco and Matic. I'm gonna watch Dino. Now I'll watch Simon. Yeah, I'll watch Simon, who is starting a lap now. Runs a bit deep to turn 3. It might cost a tenth or 3. Maybe more like 2. Also running deep again, so it's not been the optimal start to the lap. And also again it's a bit deep, so maybe the AlphaTauri is struggling a bit with the brakes. But now coming into the 4th chicane, again seems to have a pretty late minimum speed, so maybe a bit to work on in terms of the driving style. And the Delta says it's a poor lap, and this time braking a bit too early for the hairpin and just completely messing up the line, so I think it might be a recharge the battery and go again situation. Is this guy not going to do the flicking between the first and neutral trick? We'll go on board with Dino, who right now is sitting P6 in qualifying and is now coming out of the final corner. Coming out of the hairpin is what I meant to say, the final slow corner. Down the straight and into the braking zone now. Making it quite cleanly. And now across the line, and it is a 10.3, so actually a really good lap. McGinty should be embarrassed. Though McGinty is improving by 2/10. So this seems like it's actually going to be quite tight of a session. There's the Red Bull is now coming into... How do you retire car there? Oh, and McGinty's invalidated! So Dino, I think, will be starting on pole. Unless Marco's invalidated. And Simon do anything? No. The lap has been backed off. And this lap has been invalidated. So Dino Puscadia will start from pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix. And that was a bit of a surprise for me, I think. I wasn't expecting Dino to take pole. We'll just wait a minute to load in. Actually, no, I need to do something for a minute quickly. Here's race director. I will be back in a minute. Okay, I am back now. To all 3 of you who are watching. And I'm gonna go in 10 seconds. Now it's 5. Why is that Red Bull mechanic showing 3? Actually, all the mechanics are showing 3. This is weird. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go for the Canadian Grand Prix, although it is a bit early for Eric, who has gotten a jump start as there's an Alfa Romeo around, and McGinty seems to be challenging Dino around the outside of turn 2, which switches to the inside for turn 3, and I think the Red Bull has gotten the position. As further back there are some position swaps going on. It seems like Dwardowicz cuts the corner bit there and is under pressure from Matusiak, who is going to look to go for the move down the inside, and I don't think he's going to make it work, as Dwardowicz is able to maintain the position on those hard tyres. But further back we also have fighting between the Williams of Kelechi and Simon, as what is going on? What is Eric doing? I don't get it. Is this trying to bring out a safety car or something? We're getting disqualified in a dangerous position or something. This is weird. I do not get it. As Eric is now disconnected from the session and is now ghosted in the middle of everyone, as McGinty has set the fastest lap in a bid to try and take the lead of the race. As it's quite tight, as Dino's teammate Marco is going to try and make up some positions after invalidating the final lap and qualifying after seeming so quick. Although the hard tyres right now will not be the quickest, they are a durable compound, as Simon is now being put under pressure by Prato Alechi, as we've already got our first time penalty for track limits, multiple warnings. We've actually got 3 penalties. What penalties have we got? We've got 2 drive-throughs. I think that would be for jumping the start. And what was I going to say? Dino's dropped out of DRS of McGinty, so McGinty showing his true pace that he wasn't able to unlock in qualifying. And Finn Dyson, who is on the mediums, looks like he might be challenging Dino in the upcoming laps, as we've already got another 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. As Eric's AI now serves a drive-through, and or is it changing the wing? It's changing the wing now, but it's going to have a drive-through. And that ghost car is going to be driving around for the rest of the race, and might get blue flag infractions. Are there any close gaps? Finn Dyson almost running into the back of Dino and having to cut the corner to avoid a collision, but no damage. No damage is good, yes. I'm struggling with words today, however it seems like Mate has had a bit of a spin, or maybe a bit of a tap from behind into the hairpin. Could be either. But Henrik is right on the back of Dino and will be in DRS. And meanwhile, McGinty's just pulling away ahead of them, so Henrik might be getting a little bit impatient behind that Aston Martin. Especially given that the tyres are going to be quick now and the advantage will be declining over the duration of the race. As there's yellow flags, as the McLaren has binned it. So we'll try and see what's going on. And that's a safety car. Will Kelechi be able to see what's happening? That is a weird place to bin it. Williams almost ran into the back. Has the drive-through been served? Yes, it has, but Eric's hasn't, so Eric might get disqualified because he can't serve the drive-through on the safety car. But the safety car, I think, would have saved Halechi, as that weird crash will be very unfortunate. I'm just looking at who was it that pinned it. It was I should really learn the names of everyone. It was David Garcia, I'm not sure how to do pronunciation, as Dino's already into the pits for a set of mediums. I guess medium from here will be a lot nicer than hards. You give up 7 positions on track, but you have the better tyres for this stint. So that's an interesting trade-off. And it means that Dino will be able to do 2 medium stints. I'm surprised it was someone so far forward who did it, because if you're like whoever this is, I should really know who everyone is. There's Anthony Stakowski. Maybe it would have been a bit more worth it, because you lose less positions. As Camel Lashes has come in and almost whacked the wall and pit exit, so not optimal, if I am being completely honest. And you can see Eric's AI car. I think that will be 8 PV4 disconnect from purpose at least. But right now everyone's just lining up behind the safety car. Did Henrik cut the track? Because that would be a really silly warning if it is. But this should hopefully be the final lap, and Dino's in again? Why? Is there a wing swap? Back onto hard. Is the plan to take these to the end? Wait, someone's binned it under safety car. Ethan Sargent. What's going on? Okay, the Red Bull has now disappeared. Why has Dino gone back? The issue with taking it to the end is that I don't think tyres will be on like 75% by the end. At Canada, the pit lane is so short, and the wear feels so high. That's just faster to do medium, like a lot faster to do medium than it is to do the hard. The pit stop's only like 17 seconds, I think, and the mediums will be quite a bit quicker. But safety car is in this lap, so we'll get back underway. I actually do not get the strategy from Dino. Apparently there's a bit of stuff going on in the Discord chat. But McGinty's about to get this race underway and seems to have gotten the jump over Finn Dyson, but gets a massive snap on exit, which doesn't really mean anything as Kalechi's in the pits for a new wing. Was this related to the Ethan Sargent retirement? It might be, but Robbie, well, was 2/10 behind, although has dropped back a little bit through the corners. But is right behind Simon Aberg right now. And also, there's a spin of Finn Dyson. That is not ideal. The AlphaTauri He's now broken his wing. That is beyond optimal, as Simon Aberg's also been swallowed up by the two Mercedes and is looking to go for a move to get the position back. However, ends up backing out. And now coming out of the corner, switching on the battery, so using a lot of it, and is already down to 36 despite this being the first lap. But also Matusiak is right behind the back of Marko Dordovic, coming through the chicane, and the Williams driver might be looking to go for a move down into turn 1. No. We'll look further back, see if there's anything going to happen. We've got Dino Puscadia, who almost runs into the back of Camille and has to take avoiding action, which will cost the defending champion a bit of a second. Yeah, words are difficult, chat. If any of you are still alive. Right now, it's still a pretty tight DRS train after the safety car, and as I like to say, safety car breeds close racing, as they make it work side by side, and we get a terrible camera angle. Now we get a better one, and they're still side by side, and they're both flashing, which means out of battery already. And I think Dino is going to try and make a move with some battery, or maybe not, just sitting on 60%. Although Dino will know that the battery of the guys ahead is deficient, as DRS gets enabled now. And Matusiak's just sitting behind Marko Dordovic, who is pretty distant from the back of McGinty, but we'll return to the fight further back, as Dino was maybe thinking about the move, but didn't actually end up going for it, which is probably the clever move. You don't want to take someone out, because that means you might get a penalty. But right now they're just in a DRS train. Yes, a DRS train, and also Dino. Oh, there's contact ahead! And the Ferrari is round, and Simon gets through, but so does Dino, who is now ahead of the pair of them, but is 4 seconds behind Statkovsky, as I'm getting hiccups. And Matusiak as well is going to go side by side through the final chicane. However, Marko backs out to avoid going side by side and gets a much better exit as a result. However, does not have DRS, but is trying to fight back. However, is unable to get far enough ahead into the braking zone. Will Marko be looking to challenge back? Maybe. Although the battery level is low, and also low, so none of them have really heard of the concept of saving battery, as I'm missing hiccups. It's not ideal. Also, Marko seems to be struggling a little bit in terms of pace, having got back 6/10 from Matusiak as they now head through the hairpin, and Marko's dropped it on throttle. Was that a beautiful 360 that I just missed? And only, oh, it's another 360. No, it's 270, not a 360. Not ideal for either Aston Martin, I would say, as I think, what are the tyre temps? Only 101 on the rears, so not too bad. McGinty sets the fastest lap, no surprises. And Mate Schleverstan is quite close to the back of Matusiak. And within DRS, and the hard should start to gain an advantage over the mediums at this point, as Statkovsky gets another 3 seconds of track limit. So we had 2 pretty quick track limits, and we haven't had much until now, so everyone else has been keeping it clean. I think we'll stay on board with this battle for P3. And we also have to factor in what will happen when they swap tyres. So that will be mediums for the Haas and hards for the Williams. So it should swing into the advantage of the Haas. However, Matusiak seems to be running quite low wings, always using all the battery, because Mate is, well, on the first straight wasn't gaining much time, but has seemed to have taken the Wall of Champion chicane pretty well. Simon is in for an early stop, maybe for a wing swap. I think I see a wing coming out. Yes, I do. And also coming in for medium tyres, which makes sense. But the primary purpose of that pit stop was to change the wing. I'm not sure if those mediums will make it to the end. It's going to be tight. I'll ride back on board with Mate, who is chasing the back of Adam Matusiak. It seems to be a bit closer this lap compared to last lap. And we'll be getting a pretty good slipstream all the way down the straight, as well as DRS flipped on the battery for a brief moment just to get that additional acceleration. And looking at the batteries, it's 10% for the Williams and 19% for the Haas. And the Haas would have seen the battery flashing there, as Matusiak's now got a 3-second time penalty for passing the track. Is low on battery, and the Haas is going to go for a move around the outside of turn 1, which switches to the inside for turn 2, and is able to clear the Williams before turn 3. Will Matusiak be able to fight back? We'll see shortly, as they now head through the second chicane, which leads into another, as Solecchi's now got a 3-second time penalty, as the time penalties are starting to accumulate now after a few laps. And the Williams will have DRS for this straight, and we'll see how much the car's able to close in. However, Dino Cuscadia is also on the back of both Mercedes, having bridged that 4-second gap. The Aston Martin will be looking to go for a move at some point. Although that is not what you want to do, as Dino's broken the wing. Fortunately no terminal damage, but that is really not ideal. And will that be rear wing damage, as both Aston Martins have now had a bit of a spin. But Marco is sitting right behind Camille. He runs a bit deeper to the final corner, which will invite Marco to flips on the battery work. I'm not sure the Aston Martin is going to be able to go full move, so there might just be a waste of battery. Yeah, Marco backs out, so waste of battery. Skill issue in battery deployment strategy. That's a bit harsh from myself, but it's true. As they now come through whatever corner this is. Is there anyone watching the stream? There's 2 of you apparently. Should I go with Matusiak now? The Williams is sticking within DRS, although that is a weird line to take through the corner, using all the curb there, and that might also be a track limit, which puts you nearer to 6 seconds. And it's not the best hairpin either, losing 3/10 of the Haas ahead, who seems to have much better grip through the corners, but is slower on the straights. It's all a setup trade-off, as Matuz now heads into the pits, presumably to strap on a set of hards. However, Marko Dordovic is again right on the back of Camel, but even closer this time, and I think the Aston Martin will have the position coming into the final chicane. And gets a better run, so the position will be uncontested going into turn 1. And where will Matusiak emerge relative to them? Oh, he's right in the middle. Someone's joined the lobby. And Rando. Please don't crash. Good, they made it through. Has now left the lobby. But Matusiak on those fresh tyres should be a lot quicker than them in theory. However, hards when they're cold are not optimal. They aren't dreadful. It's not like Silverstone or Japan where they literally do not work for the first lap, but also the tyre age advantage is definitely existent, but it's not massive considering these are the hard tyres. But anyways, the Williams comes out of the hairpin and now opens the DRS and will be closing in on Marco all along the straight. I might even be tempted to go for a move into turn 1, although it did not get the best run through the final chicane. So we'll maybe have to go for it next lap, but the tyres seem to have switched on now, and Matusiak is right on the back of Marco as they now head through this corner as Camel now gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits, so they are really starting to build up a lot. As Simon Aberg, who had to box with wing damage, goes now in the mediums, and set the fastest lap of the race. As they're now making their way through the fourth chicane, as I like to call it, into the hairpin. And Matusiak's right on the back of Dordovic as Puscadia has had to box for mediums and has now gotten a time penalty. Matusiak's really dumping the battery there and will be able to get past Marco before the corner, really showing the low wings that the Williams has to offer. As well as Camel, who seems to have gotten a pretty poor run through the chicane, to have now dropped out of DRS range, although there is still a sector to pull back in until the next detection point. However, Marco might now be pulled along by Matusiak in the DRS. Should be bad news for the Ferrari's race. Dino sets the fastest lap, but I just don't get the strategy. Was there some wing damage? Maybe, but the hards, I just don't understand. It's a pretty questionable choice, if I'm being completely honest. And now you are how many minutes behind McGinty? Quite a few. However, the Aston Martin is now reeling into the back of Finn Dyson, who is on much older hards, so this shouldn't be too hard of a move for the Aston Martin driver, given the grip advantage. Now coming into the hairpin, a minor lock-up of the front, but rotates the car well through the corner. Opening DRS now, and that will allow Dino to close into Henrik. The Aston Martin's really closed in as the AlphaTauri gets a really poor run out of the corner, however has the battery to be able to defend with, however opts to not fight too hard, although they are going side by side now. Although it seems like Dino will have a favourable line out of the corner and indeed get superior traction. And now set chase to Simon Aberg as Finn Dyson has now got 3 seconds for multiple warnings. So the race has now started to calm down a bit. Matusiak as well is now getting close to the back of the Mercedes drivers, who are on much older tyres. And I wonder when they are going to begin to head into the pits, as we have now done more than half of the race distance, as Stakowski gets 3 more seconds, which is not ideal. And the Matusiak in the Williams has quite a bit of straight line speed and is able to close to within DRS despite not having DRS, so a good job by the Williams driver, as well as Dordovic, who is really quite low in battery and I think has just about gotten within DRS, so good job from the other Aston Martin driver. But Matusiak is right on the back of Anthony, who is also out of DRS now, although I think was still a bit over a second behind the detection. But Matusiak sits back for now, knowing that the Williams will have the traction advantage and also the straight line speed advantage in combination with the DRS, which the Williams does have. And it's a pretty simple move for Matusiak with those wings. So he'll now set Chase to... Will he be able to get Robbie as well? As Matusiak's got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And Marco as well seems to be getting thought about going past, but is unable to, as we've also had Mate Schlevestan come out right in the middle of this battle on some brand new mediums, so this race is really beginning to spice up a bit now that we're at the midpoint, and that will give DRS to Statkovsky for now. But we'll go back on board with Matusiak, who is really not that far behind Robbie. What's the battery of Robbie? 73%, so it is advantage Mercedes in the battery department. However, it should be advantage Williams in the drag minimising department, as McGinty's in the pits. If I was him, I would have stayed out a few more laps just to go for the freshest tyres at the end and the fastest lap. Matusiak thinks about going for the move, however the Mercedes dives into the pits, which distracts Matusiak, probably giving another track limit, which is unfortunate. And Mate is now 1.1 seconds behind, but has far superior tyres as Camille. Now gets 3 seconds, so the penalties are really starting to back up now, although not from McGinty, who is well up the road. We've got a fight for P2, and I'll just check the penalties. And it is 3 seconds for Mate and 6 seconds for Matusiak. So, right now, the Haas is actually net P3 if you include, although Dordovic needs to pit. Net P2 for the Haas. Although, of course, he could get another penalty, and there is also the possibility of one of Matusiak's being removed by the stewards, so you would want to get the move done, although that will be very difficult given the straight line speed of that Williams, although it seems like the Haas is dumping the battery to get past, and I think that will be successful as Matusiak is forced to concede the position going into the final chicane and simply does not have the same grip that the Haas has. As Mate now sets the fastest lap of the race. Also McGinty's probably going for that this lap. Very close to track limits, although still within, probably. There's yellow flags for the back, as that is a spin for an Aston Martin. The Aston Martins are really having a bad day, as now Dordovic gets a time penalty, multiple warnings. However, this is a pretty good fastest lap attempt, in all honesty. Coming into the hairpin, braking just after the 100-metre board, going for a late apex, now getting on the throttle, switching on the battery, but not using too much battery, considering it's the fastest lap attempt, and only going like 3:06 in the steering wheel, which you probably won't be able to see. And again, not switching on the battery. Is McGinty that confident? Well, it's his fastest lap by 4/10, but it is likely that someone at the end will box to try and beat that. And right now we have a battle between Dino, Camel and Statkovsky. Dino has by far the oldest tyres of the trio, but is second in the DRS chain, which is generally considered to be the best position, because you still get DRS and the benefits, but you're not in third, so you're not stuck in terms of track position. Also, Statkovsky seems to have dropped a bit off the back of the pairing. But Camo has the best tyre. Dino's had a spin. What's going on with these Aston Martins? It seems like there is some sort of problem for them, as Dino now picks up a 3-second time penalty, so maybe copying his teammate from last lap of spinning, then getting a penalty, so really not optimal. And also that might mean that Stakowski is out of DRS, and I think that is the case. It's raining! It's raining, there's raindrops! This race has suddenly turned exciting. This is interesting now. There's rain! Is that Dino's strategy? Take cards till the rain. Then why did Dino go mediums and then hards again? I do not get the strategy on 10 levels, but it's raining! So I guess McGinty's fastest lap is secure. Hello Ryan Orange. Monaco Raineye. DRS has been disabled already, and Mate's had a spin. And that's a reset to track, which is 10 seconds plus 3 penalty points if reported. As we also had a spin for Simon Abok, who does not reset to track. As McGinty's into the pits for the intermediates. Probably makes sense, as Finn Dyson's also had a bit of a spin. And I think everyone's going to be in the box. Matusiak just about gets it stopped in time. And Dordovic, he's done 23... That was Dordovic in P3 after all those spins. Gets it slowed down in time as well. But everyone is now in the pits to strap on a set of intermediates. And they're taking it very conservative on pit entry, all of them. What about Dino? Braking a bit later. Just about gets it stopped in time. This is entertaining watching them try and enter the pits. Finn Dyson will be the last one in. How did Dordovic take P3? It's a very conservative pit entry again. But the track has suddenly flipped from wet to dry. And we'll switch to penalties because we know everyone's on inters of equal age. But Marco is now net podium. I do not... The Aston... I was talking about how torrid of a day they were having. Like, that's gone from, like... I don't get it, but... Matu Leverstan is a pretty quick driver in the Haas. And will be looking to challenge the position. However, it is notoriously hard to overtake in the wet. So we'll just see how it goes as Eric's AI's Finn Dyson. Is that a retirement on track? That's brought out a safety car. Or did the car just slide along? There's the Red Bull of McGinty. Can we see the car? Yeah, that's not a retirement on track. That is a genuine binning it. Because the car moved on the mini-map after the retirement message came out, but I guess it's just the car sliding like a boat. And we'll pack the punt. That will pack up the bunch, and Robbie is now net P2. Yeah, Robbie's net P2. After penalties, I suspect no one will be into the pits because they're all on relatively... I don't get Dino's strategy. They're all on relatively new inters, so there will be no tyre benefit to pitting, so I think they will all stay out. This race has just gotten very interesting, and also Eric's car is just there. This race is about to get spicy. Also, Matuziak is P2 on track. McGinty's in the pits? What? Why? How do you get a track limit under safety car? That's my other question. But Matuziak, I thought it was on 6 seconds, not 9. This is confusing. But McGinty's now not leading the race. So we'll probably be wanting to get past, but could just win on penalties. But this race, I thought this was going to be a boring one, but I guess not. They're just driving around under safety car. Also, Simon, who's not had the best race so far, however does not have a penalty, is going to be another beneficiary of this safety car, as the majority of other people have at least 6 seconds, which is quite a bit of time. Only 3 other drivers who are relevant have 3 seconds or less. Are they under Delta? If they are, that's just boring. I think we're going to have one more lap under safety car, then it will be in, because they should be able to catch up, unless there's Delta things. However, Matuziak is going almost overtaking the safety car. And also, I'm not sure how good the low wings are in the wet, but it means that you might not be able to overtake, which might mean a massive train. And the train is good for those with penalties, because everyone is close together. So that will be... You could see Robbie on the podium. It's going to be interesting between Marco and Simon. Although Marco will probably have enough track... Yeah, Marco has enough track position. Unless he does an Aston Martin thing and have a Spinalla. Although you do need to catch up if you are Simon. Are you still under Delta? I'm not... This is weird. Please stop pinging me, whoever. So Eric's AI car. That is just being annoying. Why are you going so slowly? I don't get it. But there's 5 of you watching now, which is the most the stream has had yet, which... Normally we have a bit more, but I guess Canada, being Canada. And the safety car will stay out another lap. Is Simon deliberately driving slowly so the safety car stays out another lap? And that way the field spreads out less because of the penalty. That's interesting. That is an interesting proposition, I think. Is it big green or is it illegal? That there might be the real question. But the safety car should be in this lap, riding with McGinty, because McGinty is net race leader and will probably be wanting to dispatch the Williams, who will be slow as hell through the corners, given the lack of wing, let's just say. And McGinty will want to make sure that there's no one too close behind so he doesn't get yeeted out by someone braking a tad too late. Though McGinty's basically driven the perfect race so far, taking the lead turn 1, and then just building the gap from there. Although now he will have to overtake Matusiak, which might be difficult, but safety car in this lap. When will the Williams decide to go? Williams is leaving it quite late, and he goes now, as there's been a massive crash behind, as someone's actually died under the restart, and Dordovic is now down into 9th place. What's happened? I do not understand. But McGinty's also taken the lead, and also Puscadia is now going side by side with Simon Aberg, as Matusiak now gets penalty, and there's a lot of ping pong going on, as there's yellow flags in sector what? Is Mateo's car still driving? Is that a retirement on track? It's a shame I can't go and look at it, but that's another thing I need to jot down for my reporting thing if I feel like it. Also, Robbie got 5 seconds, which is interesting, although that might get removed by the stewards. Because, oh, Kelechi's been tapped by Camel. And that, although it's well held by the Williams to not spin round, that might be inviting Dino back into the fight. And that Aston Martin seems to have a lot more confidence through the corners than the Ferrari. And now we are heading through turns 2 and 3, and Dino just seems to be taking much stronger lines as the Ferrari gets a massive snap. Will Camel be overtaken? I don't think right now, although it is looking quite tight. Although the Ferrari takes a really bad line and avoids doing a Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, if you remember what I mean. And Halecki's also quite close to the back of Robbie. And it will be interesting to see whether penalties and all of that stuff, because 5 seconds feels like a penalty that's going to get removed. Because if it's a multiple of 3 seconds, it's probably track limits, but 5 seconds is for other stuff. And I don't think he's sped into the pit lane. And also 5 is less than 6. That's probably another important factor, but is this Williams here running low wings just like his teammate? I'm not sure, but Matusiak's going to try and be trying to pull out of penalty range of the cars behind, because he has got a 4-second gap. And also Simon Aberg, who I said could be one to look out for without a penalty. He's really not too far back, and could be looking on for a good position, but so could Marco, only having 3 seconds instead of the 6 that everyone else has. Although if he gets stuck behind the AlphaTauri, that might cause a bit of problems, as the AlphaTauri really lighting up the rears there. But now they come through the chicane, and it seems like the AlphaTauri is able to carry enough speed to keep the Aston Martin behind, so this really has not been a great day for the Aston. And also Krakowski seems to be looking to put Camel under a bit of pressure right now, although the Mercedes does have 15 seconds of time penalties. So I'm not sure the Mercedes is going to get the position in the end, even if the overtake is successful. And also Halecki is right on the back of Robbie. They are now going down second straight. And it is very touch and go as to where Matusiak will finish given the penalty, but McGinty has just driven off into the distance, which is not a surprise as Camel and Dino are now going side by side. Dino will have the outside which switches to the inside and taking a defensive line as there's been a tap involving Statkovsky and Camel gets past as a result. That might end up being reported to the stewards. Although that there might be good news for Matusiak because it means fewer people that you could lose the position to. As right now, it seems like Matusiak will only drop down to P4 despite having that penalty. And if he gets a move on, it could be P3. And also, Statkovsky seems to be going for a move on Dino right now. Sends it down the inside. And the Aston Martin tries to go for a switchback, but is unable to get it off the exit of the corner. And that means that the Mercedes is ahead, although with 15 seconds of time penalties and possible stewards penalties from that tap earlier this lap. I'm not sure the Mercedes is going to keep it. Also, Robbie has lost a bunch of time to Matusiak, and Hilechi's right on the back. This is really quite tight. As Robbie is just backing up everyone, and that is allowing Matusiak to build up more than the 6-second gap that the Williams needs to take the W. And he might even be able to pull out of Robbie's penalty range right now, as Hilechi thinks about sending it, given the close proximity of the cars. However, ends up not going for the move. Now coming out of the corner, switching on the battery in the Williams, although the Mercedes seems to have much more power, not being limited by traction control. You see, I've done a traction control insult this race, so success. That is a send. Robbie leaves a car's width, and now on the traction, it seems like the Mercedes will have a massive advantage being allowed to use the power, unlike the Williams, which is computer limited. Although Camel behind was maybe thinking about going for an overtake, but is out of battery now, unfortunately. Also, the two Aston Martins, P7 and 8, this is really not a good race for them. I'm going to finish behind Simon, who's going to jump a lot of people, I think. But we'll go back and forth with Hilechi, who on the final lap is still very traction control limited, so maybe try medium traction instead of full traction. That will make you a lot quicker. Oh, that's a bit of a... that's a minor tap. That was tight. Fortunately, no further consequences, which reduces the chance of being reported and getting a penalty. Although what all of this shenanigans means is that Matusiak is going to take P2 despite the 12 seconds of time penalties. And also, will Camel think about maybe going for the lunge? No. Not for now, at least. Although the Ferrari should have more power on the throttle. And unsurprisingly, he does. However, being deficient in the battery means that Hilechi is able to it. Yeah, McGinty's won. Who cares? Although Hilechi now gets another 3 seconds, though. Does that matter? Will Puscadia get the position as a result? Yes! P4 for Dino, so... not too bad, as... Marco's left the session. Probably not happy with how that race has gone. P6 is okay considering the number of spins. Although he might be straight to the reporting channel. And it's back to dry again. Here's all of the timings thing. I don't need to scroll down on that thing. Oh gosh. 3 people jump started. And it is a 1 penalty point thing for jump starting. If reported, which I might do. Here's all of the... Oh, McGinty had a wing swap. Now that pit up makes a bit more sense, but I'm going to ask them if any of them want an interview. Are any of them in there? Yeah, I'll give them 60 seconds to get in if they want. Although I'm not... Okay, Dino and Lucas McGinty are in there. Lucas, well done on the race win.
Thank you very much.
You had just more pace than everyone.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure why that was, to be honest. I was just gonna do my thing. And just stuff happened in the background. I just kept my nose out of it.
Yeah, Canada is one of those tracks where some people just hate it and do really badly at it. So I guess it's more of a bad track for your opponents than you.
I suppose.
So on the final safety car, I noticed that you boxed.
Yes. When the rain started hitting, I boxed for inters, and I'm pretty sure it's same lap or the lap after I hit a wall, so I got damage. So I had to, luckily enough, the AlphaTauri binned it, so I was kind of saved there by that AlphaTauri.
Did you lose your entire wing?
Not my entire wing, though. It was orange, though.
Wing damage makes you a rocket ship in a straight line, so I think you would have been fine regardless. But then on the restart, I didn't get your overtake because there was more carnage further back. But it
Yeah.
seems like Matusiak just ran a bit deep into turn 2.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a moment going into turn two, and I had two, but I was able to recover it quicker. So I was able to go down his inside and take the position.
Yeah, and then with the higher wings you were running relative to him, you just drove
Yeah.
off. Dino, pole position for you, which I wasn't really expecting.
I honestly don't think anyone was expecting that. Even I. That pace just came out of nowhere. But I think a lot of people just made a lot of mistakes. You know how easy it is to track extend in Canada. So I think I got a lucky pole position.
Yeah, I was expecting people to be a bit lower in the 10s, possibly even a high 9 for pole. So,
Oh,
start of the race, you're on pole, you get an okay start, and then side by side with McGinty, and then unfortunately for you, McGinty got past and just drove off. But then for you, you didn't really have the plain sailing that McGinty had. If we're being completely
you,
honest.
you could say that after 5 stops. The only one who went that far. It really wasn't plain sailing. It was just a problem after a problem after a problem.
What was
So,
happening under the first safety car when you went to mediums and back onto hards?
so my strategy was because I saw that the hards weren't wearing too much. I thought that I would pit for mediums, complete my tire mandatory set, and then go back to hards to go to the end of the race. Because I knew that they would go to the end. They would be close to the puncture zone, but I think they would just make it until the end, and then I would just have to defend for my place. And I would have been in pretty high places, but then I got wing damage, and that was all just thrown out of the window.
Was the rain a surprise to you, or was it forecast?
It was forecast, but none of us really knew when it was gonna be coming. We knew that it was gonna be somewhere at the end of the race, but we also knew that it was gonna dry for the final few laps. But you see that didn't really happen.
So I'll move Robbie into. I believe, if I remember correctly, that was P3 for you, Robbie. So well
Yes.
done on the
Thank
podium.
you.
Despite
Didn't
getting
expect
that,
it at all.
despite getting that 5 second time penalty,
Yeah.
everyone else behind had more time penalty than you.
Yeah. It's really a surprise to me because Canada is my worst track, so it's really a surprise I didn't get any penalties. I was on 2 warnings before the incident at the safety car restart, which I still don't know what happened there. So that's still a mystery. And then I got wing damage from that incident, so I couldn't slow down the car in the slow corners. So I also had to deal with that. So it was pretty hard to keep the guys behind.
I guess that is a very well deserved podium then.
Thank you.
Is there
Yes.
anything else you want to say before we head south to Texas next week?
Uh, yeah, it's I hope my podium will stand. So uh, yeah, but it's actually my first podium in Aero, so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty good. I'm just trying to think back to my first podium. It was in a sprint race, and then the race after that, I also got a podium. It was almost the win.
Yeah.
But
I
for me, that was a good time. Enjoy your podium, and I
Yes,
think
thank you.
we will end the stream there. So thank you for watching, all 4 viewers right now, and 3 of you apparently have liked the stream. So our like ratio is good, but